Right, okay, so this is my idea, my pitch for my documentary. So I thought I'd do a documentary, not just because, well, not very many people were doing documentaries, but I thought that this was something that I can sort of relate to. Like, I enjoy where I work, and I thought that maybe going into detail about something like this would be not something that you usually see for people at college. So these are like my two initial ideas. The other idea I had was video games and violence. So I'm quite into my video games. I quite like playing them, maybe a bit too much. I thought that maybe because we did that as previous work, maybe I could talk about that as a documentary and sort of make my own version of that. And then my other one was Rebellion, and I sent out sent out SurveyMonkey links and got feedback from everyone. And so I decided to do on Rebellion. You can see I've got interviews there, different shots, well-established shots. It's going to be showing the brewing process and things like that. It'll be fun. So the outline of my documentary, these are some of the mood boards, a mood board that I did for my first idea. I'm going to focus on the fact that it's family and friendly run. So for example, my uncle is the boss, so that's how I got my job. There's two owners and they have all their family works there, everyone knows each other from somewhere or another. I can have interviews with the two owners, Tim and Mark. I'm going to sort of have them having a conversation more than an interview about how it all started. Start off at the cricket club. They played cricket together and they thought, why don't we try and make our own beer? And then they've progressed to one of the largest microbreweries in Buckinghamshire. We're going to talk about the history of it as well. So not just where it started, but how it's progressed over the years, how they've made it bigger, how they've moved from sites, things like that. I'm also going to have interviews with the owner from the Ship in Marlow, which is a pub, asking them why they like our beer, why they buy it, because obviously a lot of the pubs around the local area are supplied with our beer. Locations, so obviously it's just the two, Rebellion and the Ship. Rebellion is quite an open spaced sort of site. There's a lot of big warehouses, things like that, where we keep the beer. The ground isn't too nice, so I'm going to have to work my way around that. So I'm either going to have it on a still tripod, and I was thinking about having on wheels, but that might be an issue because of the ground and the uneven surface. The Ship, it's got a beer garden, which would be lovely for filming in, nice sunlight, sort of pub, very sort of original pub location. I thought that would be quite nice for some interviews as well with the people. So my target audience, originally I thought it was going to be anything above 18 years old, and I was going to say more above 30, but going into more research online and from focus groups, I realised that it is more the younger drinkers that are promoting real ale these days. So they're all the ones that like drinking it. It's males, obviously, because women are more sort of wine drinkers, but they do obviously we do have quite a lot of female drinkers at the brewery as well. I thought there might be any job besides long hour jobs who want to watch my documentary, because obviously people like doctors won't have time to watch things like this. They'll be watching the shows that they're used to watching unless they have a particular interest in drinking beer, and they will be shown on things like Channel 4, and mine will be on ITV documentaries. This is my focus group, so this is where I found out a bit more about my target audience, asking peers from my class. I'll just get this up now, if it works.
Does my documentary appeal to a wide target audience or a niche target audience? If so, what is it?
I feel it targets, yes and no, targets a wider audience in terms of it would target older people mostly. That's what I
I'd say it's obviously it's not 18, it's very young to be interested. I think it will target a large audience. It's an interesting topic.
Okay, what age group do you think will want to watch my documentary and why?
I think it would probably be older, probably 30 plus, but it'd be 18 plus, but mostly older people would be more interested.
What gender do you think this reaches out to?
Definitely males.
Why?
I suppose beer is a bigger thing to males. They enjoy it more than women.
And what social group do you think will be interested in this documentary?
it appeals to all social groups.
Yeah.
So working
It's a
class.
common- yeah, it's a common like interest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
What would the people who want to watch this do for a living?
I think you could do anything. I mean, I think it would be
Business.
more like I think less like doctors or anything. It would be, probably more like
So more people with more time on their hands.
yeah, office workers essentially.
Where should I show my documentary, and why do you think this? For example, in Channel 4.
I think Channel 4 is a good idea.
Why?
See documentaries similar to this at the time.
What about ITV documentaries?
Yeah, very similar to that. I can picture Channel 4, ITV,
Yeah.
Atom Player, etc. There's that mixture of history.
Thank you.
Right, so that was my focus group. So when I asked questions with my focus group, oh, hang on, I've got the wrong one. How do I do that? So when I asked my focus group, they said that like older males, and then when I did my online research here, I found that people that like to drink. So have you heard of things such as Camera? Have you heard of the organisation Camera? They like promote real ale drinking, and they did a survey with the Guardian, I think, and it said that more younger males and younger people are drinking real ale these days. So I sort of went on the Rebellion website and I found a beer finder, and this is all the places where Rebellion sells beer in the country. So this is obviously where my target audience is going to be. This is where this is the people that are going to want to watch it. This is where they're going to be based. So it's South East England, where we live. I mean, I would like to say that people from all over the country would like to watch it, but I mean, this is going to be the focus, and this is where there's going to be the most interest. So there isn't too many competitors because I didn't really find many movies that, or like documentaries which were similar. So I think that's why my documentary could like have a break, because it's something new. Don't really see microbreweries being promoted, but this was an American documentary called Beer Culture, which is just sort of focusing on craft beers. It's not really it's similar, but I'd say that focusing on the fact that it's family friendly run with my documentary might give it an edge to this, although its views were very high. So I would like to say that I can compete with this, but at the same time I think that it would be challenging. Another one which I found quite funny was a university student who focused on real ale as a documentary for one of their projects, and this is like similar to what I'm doing with my college work. So I think that she put her video on Vimeo and didn't really get many views. So if mine's shown on ITV documentaries, I'm sure that my audience figures will be a lot higher than hers. So yeah. Resources. So I'm having 2 cameras. I want my interviews to be sort of have nice shots, over the shoulder shots, things like that, and a tripod of course as well. Maybe 2 tripods. And these are the cameras that we'll be using, and the tripods. Personal requirements. So this is where I worked out all of my expenses. So travel. If I take the bus, it will cost £3.70 for a student day pass. And if I do that 5 days, it would cost £18.50. If one of my cast members and camera assistant Finley, if he helps me, then I will just pay him £5 in petrol to carry the equipment to the locations. Food, there'll be no food actually involved in my documentary, but if I need lunch or if Finley needs lunch, then I can take £5, something like that. You can just go out for lunch, go for a meal. Cast and crew, so £360 is what Finley will help me as a camera assistant, like regular pay for 3 5-hour days. So like it worked out as like for 10 hours you get paid a certain amount, so I just worked it out for how many days I needed and how long those days were going to be. This is a checklist of the people that I'm going to need. So camera operators, obviously Finley of course, and myself. Cast extras, so they'll be everyone I'm interviewing, so Tim and Mark, the owners of the brewery, and then Tim, the owner of the ship. And then there might be a few little people from the brewery that I might ask a few questions, customers as well from the brewery, because we obviously have a shop So there's going to be people out there drinking all the time, go and interview them, and obviously the locations aren't specifically shown on there, so just ticked other. These are the links for all my cast and crew, the emails and stuff. If you want to get in contact with them, this is how I got in contact with them. Emails, things like that. Phone as well. And there'll be no expense for interviewing or filming any of the people that I am, because I'm promoting the brewery in a way, so it won't sort of be like they're doing me a favour. If anything, I'm doing them a favour. So I'll be interviewing them, and but my camera system obviously costs me. And then these are the days which I'll be filming, and so everywhere where it says Marlow Brewery, I'll be interviewing Tim and Mark, and then and obviously customers, and then the day it says Marlow Pub at the bottom, that will obviously be when I'm interviewing the owner of the ship. Cool. Yeah, that's it.
Has anyone got any questions?
Any questions? No?
How long is it going to be?
I'm aiming for it to be like 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. I want to get some like detail in there as well, and I want to get some nice shots. So, for example, I'm going to have time lapse in there. So when Tim and Mark are reminiscing with each other of how it all started, and then maybe if one of them is explaining like a process of a certain type of beer they're making, I'll have a time lapse with their like audio over the top of it. So I have like a time lapse inside the brew house of them making things whilst the conversation's going on. So it might be more interesting.
Do you have any permissions to film in the pub or the brewery and things?
Yeah, I've sent, well, I didn't actually include it in here, but I did send out emails to both the owners of the brewery and the man from the ship, and they're more than happy to help me out. Okay. And I've got that with set dates, so I know that they're definitely free for those times.
I have a question. How are you filming it? Are you in front of the camera or are you just narrating?
I think it's going to be a bit of both. So I'll either be in front of the camera for a few bits, that's why I'm having Finn as my camera assistant. I want to be able to walk around the brewery, and that's when I said the issue of the ground. So I wanted to have it on a roller, and then I could be walking with them through the brewery, having a chat, they can speak to me about little bits, certain members of staff, Finley can be filming, and then there'll be other times when I won't be in it, and then I'll just be interviewing them. So hopefully, like when I'm at the ship, I'll be in it, and I'll have like a pint of Rebellion with me, and they'll be explaining why they like it, why like this certain type of beer, which one's their favourite, and why they've like been getting it supplied for so long. So I think that it'll be a bit of both. Everyone else?